G'day everyone, welcome to another edition of Craps Down Under. Today I'm going to continue doing our bankroll building. It's been a couple of days since I've done a video, just had a few other things going on. I remember we got up to, what was it, 280, 90, 96, so not too bad. I did take a little bit of a different approach on my last two videos. Obviously these are $500 bankrolls and we've got 600 in our rack, which I'm going to change and get some reds, and 200 in reds, and I've got to get some 25s. What do I want in 25s? So that's 300, 400, 500. Oh, maybe I'll get some more reds. Oh, maybe I'll just put 100 back. Keep that there. Alright. So, and we'll get some whites. Definitely going to need some whites. Alright, let's do that. See if I can... Oh, great. Alright, so we're all set up. So I'm going to play fairly conservative. I'm going to go back to my usual style. We did try, in the last couple of videos, tried sort of just letting the math work, but given the amount of variance that you get in the game, the math really doesn't work for you in a session, so you still have to play fairly defensively. Even though probabilistically we should have easily, shouldn't have had a problem at all, because we're 70% versus 30% on every roll. We still got fairly beaten up in our bankroll before finally getting a good run, and we also had to play where we were playing 102 to try and get a recovery because we had got beaten up so much. So although we have the math in our favour and the math says yes we should win a certain amount, and what the probabilities are, the actual variance or the skew of what actually happens really does make you very vulnerable. So you do have to play pretty damn conservatively to have a, I guess, a high probability of success. The level we were playing at, really $600 is just not enough. So you probably need at least maybe 2 to 3, maybe even 4 times that as your session bankroll to play at that level just to survive some of the adverse rolls that you will see at the table. So, I mean, this is why we are building these, because I do accept that you are going to get left of field kind of outcomes and sessions that are just going to go, what the hell happened there? Just nothing went right, and that will happen. So let's get started. I'll work, and here what I'm doing, I'm putting up 3 units, and on each, on the 5, 6, 8. I mean, we can move it to the 9. Why not just do it? We'll do something different. Put it on the 9 this time. What else? 3 units. Get a hit, then I'll regress, and then we'll try and get another hit. That'll basically give us all our action paid for, plus $1 in our rack for those 2 hits. And then from there, we can decide what we want to do. So let's get started. Shoot's coming out, and we've got 6. So 6 is going to be the point. Let's get started there. So we're going to win 21. So at this point, I'm going to now regress. So what that does, taking all that back, that basically means our exposure at this point is $13. So if a 7 was to come, it's going to tax us 13. So it's not a too bad position to be in. Our next hit is going to obviously win 14, and that's where we'll basically be that $1 ahead if we get there. So we've got a yo, and we've got a 10. So that's 2 outside numbers and 1 inside number. Well, two numbers we don't want. basically, versus 1 we've got. So that's their ratio. I'm kind of always looking at how efficiently are they hitting our numbers. So I'm literally about to regress down another unit again, and if this roll doesn't get us something, and a 10. So they've hit a bunch of outsides. I've given them a fair number of rolls. So by going down this next bit, remember I said we need our exposure's 13. We're taking more than that off the board. So now we have no exposure. All right, because we're basically 121 and we've only got 17 on the board. So we've got some locked up profit, and I gave them a chance to win, or to hit our numbers, but they haven't done it yet. And now I'm almost at the point where if they don't do something very soon, we turn off. 8, okay, so they got something. Now you could say that was premature. I've just now missed out on some profit. Yep, that's true. I definitely have missed out on profit, but I also wasn't. This is the way I look at it, and this is what I've put in some of the comments, and it's great to get feedback and comments from you guys. I really like having those discussions in the comments. What I'm looking at is a return. Every time my action's out, that's a risk I'm taking. Every roll is a risk, and I'm looking at, well, what am I getting as a return for the risk that I've been exposed to? And when they're not hitting the numbers I'm on, that's really simple. I'm rolling 3 numbers and I haven't got anything. So now I need to either turn off or regress down, do something like that to get the risk back more in my favour. So now we have got some profit locked up. We already had $3. We've now got basically $7 locked up. The question is, what do we want to do? Do we want to keep staying up, or do we want to potentially use that profit we got? We've basically got $4 locked up in our rack now, but we've got some exposure here that's basically not costing us out of our bankroll. Yes, it is profit, but we have a chance to kind of make another hit if they do manage to get one of these 2 numbers. So I'm willing to give this a couple of rolls. Maybe we'll see what they roll, but it is a risk, and that could be basically $24 in my rack that I'm putting out. So I could have that 24 locked up as profit, but fortunately the gamble paid off this time. Shooters actually hit their point, and we get paid 15 for 1. So now we've certainly made some profit on that shooter. I'll stay off. So by default we're off. I haven't got my little lamina on there, so we're off by default. Let's see what the shooter's at. Dice have rolled off the table. Need to get some more dice. Take these 2. All right. Ace deuce doesn't affect us. Ace deuce back to back. That didn't quite hit the back wall. That's a 4. So 4's the point. So they've rolled a fair bit of rubbish, and now they've hit an outside. So I'm not really feeling it, so I might just stay off, see what happens. Hit the 4. They've hit their point. So again, that's been 4 rolls, I think, 3-4 rolls that we have not had any exposure to, but, and more importantly, even though we haven't had any exposure to the 7, it hasn't actually cost us any profit either. So, you know, when they're not hitting, and it's not exposure, and we haven't lost any profit. So it's kind of a win-win in a way. So let's see what they're doing. We're still off. We don't need this on here. We're off by default on the come-outs. And they've got a 5. So they haven't rolled a 7. They've been rolling a bit of rubbish. No one knows when the 7's going to appear. But given where we are in the shooter's hand, it might be prudent to not be working now. Yes, we might miss some profit. 4. So that's another roll that hasn't really made us anything. Now the other option is you could go, well, let's just, we could just play a little minimum, just like a little, treat it like a little taster bet, not really doing too much here, just tasting. Maybe they might hit, you could do that. and we could work. So now we've got a little bit of our profit, we've got 12 bucks of our profit, but is it really worth it? They're not kind of hitting our numbers. So these are kind of, I guess, the decisions you just have to make. You're flying by the seat of your pants the whole time, and you just have to make these decisions. What do I do now? The shooters hit the points. They've actually, you know, if you're playing pass line, the shooter's done pretty well, except for those ace deuces. They would have hurt you. They've won 2 points and they've had a few ace deuces, so they kind of evened up everything that they've done. You basically end up with nothing playing pass line unless you've added some odds and got some odds on your points. So, which a lot of people could say, you know, pass line bet, adding odds, you're just making a bad bet worse. I guess because the pass line bet is only really good on the come out. That's where it's a great bet, and after that it becomes a bad bet. And by adding odds, you're really adding odds to a bad bet, as they say. There's different schools of thought, and you know, it's a debate that's been going for decades, I think, in the craps communities. So, do we work? Do we not work? I'm just inclined to not, just because of where they're at. But I just wanted to show that's an option you can do if you're kind of a bit hesitant, which is what I am now. You could leave that out, a little bit at minimum, but again, it's profit that I don't want to throw away. And I'm kind of thinking, well, the shooters had a pretty good run. They've had enough rolls. You know, the 7 is likely to be showing eventually. Sometimes it can go on a while, but we don't know. So we did the right call. We stayed off. But I'm just working. I'm not saying that the 7's due. I'm just saying you roll 10 rolls. Given the probability of the 7, it's going to come up somewhere in those 10 rolls. And that's why when you look at all of the statistics, and this is all being computed out by in various forums, you can go and check it out. You know, a shooter is, and this is the facts, an average roll is 8.5 to 9, somewhere around there is an average shooter's hand. The average is kind of a bit useless. What I actually find more useful to me is that 50% of shooters are finished before roll 6. So half the shooters are done by roll 6. The other half will go on from anything upwards of roll 6 to, you know, maybe 160 rolls or something, whatever the record is. So it tails off very, very rapidly from that 6 rolls onwards. And by roll 23, I think it's 95, 96% of shooters don't make it to roll 23. So that kind of gives you the parameters of normal, and you know, 23 is extreme. It's way, way, way out on the fringe. So, you know, when you start to get around those number of rolls, you can't be expecting the roll to really last too much longer, just because you've had that many opportunities for the 7 to show. So we saved ourselves quite a bit. We were off for most of that. So we can actually. We don't have to go back up to our original level. That's another thing I wanted to point out. Remember where we were at, we were doing this, trying to get another hit. So we can kind of continue from where we left off on the previous shooter. So we don't have to go back up to our original stage. We can just kind of treat this as a continuation of what we were doing. So let's get some dice. New shooter coming out. Let's say we work. And we got caught by the 7 anyway. So all that, still managed to get caught for the 1 roll that we were exposed to in the last 6 or 7 of them. So it just goes to show that even the best things you can do, it still doesn't matter, it'll get you. So now we're back to, well, let's see what the shooter does. They've got a 4. So they roll a 7 and a 4. Not really encouraged by that. And 10, so they're still on the outside, so I'm still not encouraged by what I'm seeing here. There's a 5, so they have moved to the inside. But remember, we're 1, 2, 3 rolls in. So if we were to go up, we are kind of, we need to be aware of that. So I will just go up at the smaller level. But again, it is a risk. It's always a risk on every roll. We've got the 5, so they've got a repeater. So that does give us 14. So, and 15 for 1 basically. So that's kind of paid for about half of our action. Do we want to stay up another one? I think we can probably possibly do that. Got a 6. All right, so that pays basically for the other half of our action. All right, so you can see, you know, that's basically paid for that half, and this half, and the previous half paid for that half. So we're basically neutral, besides a few bucks. You know, the whites, we haven't quite covered the whites. So what do we want to do now? Do we still want to stay up and go that extra stretch? I'm kind of inclined to just turn off and see what happens, because the shooter's a fair few long now. They've gone past, I think, the 5, that magic marker, because I had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we're on to roll 6. Now we're starting into that diminishing probability. This is probably premature, but I don't know what's around the corner. No, it was premature, we got the 8. So the shooter's doing all the right things. Now the question is, do we go on or not? I'm happy just to take the little bite that we took. See what ends up. There's a 6, so bad call. And sometimes you'll be like, what did I do that for? You know. Here it is. It's all happening. 6s and 8s. This is exactly what you want to see. So yes, I've turned off too soon. Am I going to turn on now? No. 7. All right, so we lost a couple of hits there. That's okay. We don't mind. We've still got this here set up. We'll do it as a continuation like we did the last time. This is basically paid for except for the whites. In fact, it's really 4 to 8, so it's actually really, to do it absolutely perfectly, we're actually, I think, $6 of exposure on this hand. So new shooter, new dice, coming out, we'll work. And again, a 4-3-7 on the come out. So the come outs have not a single one has worked for us. So maybe we'll think about not doing that, because every time we've got bitten on the come out, and any of the come outs that we have been exposed haven't actually netted us anything. So both shooters are getting 7s on the come outs, 9. So set the point. All right, so do we go up? They're rolling inside. I'm going to go up 3 units, try and recover a little bit. Yes, I know most of our action was paid for, but I am aware that we're not really getting ahead. We're taking risks, but we're not actually getting ahead. So I am prepared to work maybe 1 or 2 rolls and see if we get something. So working 18, 18, 15. So 3 units, basically. All right, so we got one. So if we didn't get one then, I was either ready to either turn off or regress, depending on what they're doing. All right, so we got our 21. So that helps to pay for some of the loss that we got on the come outs. And if you kind of have a look, if I was to just take it all down, we'll just see where we're at in our rack. Even with those nasty come outs, we're basically, yeah, basically with all the whites, everything put back in, we're basically ahead about 20 bucks. 20 bucks in our rack. So still not too bad considering we have been burnt. So let's regress down to 2 units. Shooter may have something more there. We'll see. Remember, they've rolled, I think 1, 2, so 1, 2. Oh, yeah, they're all rolling inside, so we're pretty happy. 9, so they've hit their point. Again, it's inside numbers. So I am going to work this time, just because they continue to roll insides. Doesn't mean we won't get caught. And we've got a 4, so now they've moved to the outside. So again, just noting that every time we've worked, it hasn't paid off once. I don't believe it's paid us off 1 time yet. So I'm going to give it 1 more roll, and then I'll probably regress down to minimum 1 unit. And we've got a 5. Okay, so we got something. So that's 15 for 1. So that's our action is pretty much paid for given the 2 hits that we've had. Still means I still may reduce my exposure a little bit. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll just pull us down to the 2 on the inside and just work those 2 for a little bit. Maybe give it 1 roll or 2 rolls. 4, hit their point. All right, so I won't work, I'm not going to work on this. I'll let them have a chance to roll the 7. So we're off 7. So that's what we kind of like to see, them get the 7s out of their system on the come outs. That's really what determines your success in the game, is when the 7s roll. Do they roll on points, setting points? And if a shooter's setting points, what that actually means is they're having more come out rolls. And by having more come out rolls, any 7s they do throw through their hand are more. Those come out rolls allow them to roll them with impunity and keep their hand running. So the more points the shooter hits, the more chance that a 7 may not hurt them, basically. Where are we? So it's 6. So we're on there. We weren't working. We'll see if they can get a repeater. If they can't, then we'll just pull down to 1 unit. They've got a 6, fantastic. So they've got a repeater. So again, not being aggressive here. We're being pretty. I'll just move that over to there. So we're being fairly conservative here. Now the question is do we want to still stay up? They are off now. I'm going to stay on. Got a 5. It's okay. We've got an 8. Beautiful. So again, another, get some more reds over here. Another 15 for 1. So we're obviously being pretty conservative here, not doing too much. So again, we've got 24 on the felt. Is now about the time to regress down, probably. Lock up another $12. It's never wrong to lock it up. Never ever wrong to do that. So yeah, it might seem like you're not doing much, but the shooter's had a good run. We've had a number of hits out of them. You know, by staying there longer, we're risking more to not necessarily gain too much more. Yeah, they could have, their hand could go on forever. Well, not forever, but could go on for, you know, they might set another 3 or 4 points. We don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm happy from here to treat this as a kind of a bonus round now and see what happens. And just, you know, basically press and collect, do something like that with basically my $12. If they have a hot hand and it goes on and on and on, then great. We only ever had $12 of our winnings exposed. And we've got 6. So there we go. That's an opportunity. We can press that up. Just rack $1, or we can pick up another one. Rack $2. Yeah, we can do that, or maybe the shooter's going to hit their points. They've been hitting their points. Let's put it on the 5. Oh, they hit the 9. So I should have been on that one. Should have definitely been on that one. That's back to back. All right, but they're inside numbers. Yo, so now they're gone to the outside. All right, so well, we'll leave it run. We'll let it run. 8. All right. So we get another $7. We could pick up the 9, or we could collect. You know, it's whatever we want to do. Maybe we'll collect it. Like I said, press one or add 1, collect 1. Kind of balances it out. Got the 5, so shooters hit their point. Fantastic. Another $7. You can pick up the 9. Now, do we want to work or not? let's stay off. Yo. They've got the 8. All right. And they got the 6. So not too bad. All right, so I think we press that one. We can collect this one. Got the 6 again. All right, so we can just put $1 on our rack. Press that one. Got the 6 again. All right, 15. For one, oh, sorry, I could do it this way. All right, so what do I want to do here? Maybe I'll half press, collect. So now we've got 2 units on our 6 and 8. And there's our 7. So that was all right. That was okay. Got a little bit out of it. And that, we were treating that as a bonus round. So let's see where we're at. We've basically got we haven't really touched our 25 or our 100 here, so that's all intact. We've still got basically this plus about 20 bucks. So we've basically got 75, so we're about halfway to our target. We've been playing ultra conservative. It does take longer when you're playing ultra conservative. There is no doubt about that. And if we were playing our more aggressive line, then certainly we would have been, with the rolls we've had, we would have been out with our profit. So let's see, what are we going to do here? We'll be on, we'll work. Not a single one has worked for us yet. Oh man, so I should have, I did say last time, didn't I? Let's not do that. And not a single one has, we've been punished on every single come out. I don't know what it is. I thought maybe we'll get one. All right. Well, I'm going to go for it and say maybe they won't do it back to back. I got a 10, but again, not a single one has actually paid off. All right, let's see what we get out of this guy. I got an 8. All right. So we get paid our 15. Whoops, too much. 15 for 1. All right, so that actually took a bit of our profit, that one, that last hit. So I'm going to stay up again. Got an 8. That's another 21. So that kind of helps to get us back from what we lost. Because, you know, I think we have the 3 units. I can't remember now what I had up. Maybe it was just the 2. All right, now the question is, do I want to go for the 3 hits or not? Look, they're doing it, so let's just go with it. 6. All right. Sorry, what am I? I'm paying it wrong. So it's 15 for 1. 15 for 1. I was thinking I was pressing, I wasn't. All right. Let's go down. Let's go down and see what we get. And we've got a 5. All right, 7. Well, maybe we'll just press our 6 this time. 3. Get out of there. And 3 again. So a bit of two pieces of rubbish. So that's a sign that, okay, they've gone off Let's just go off for a couple of rolls, see what happens. Oh, they got the 8, so went off at the wrong time. Okay, I'll go back on. Got the 6, that's the one we want them to get. Alright, 15. For 1. Okay, so we're getting there. Maybe I'll press the 8. 8. Got the 8. Just in time. Pressed it just at the right time. Alright. So, if I take us back down, just going to do a bit of a stock take. Because we are getting pretty close to our target. So, okay, that's 2 reds. It's about 140 I think we're aiming for. 140 because we're playing with 600. So it's basically 20% is 120. So there's 100. We've got original bankroll there plus 100. So we know that's 100. It's 20, 30. Alright, so we've done it. We don't have to stay any longer. And I'm going to call that done. So let's just to be clear, let's make sure we can't get anything there. No. And we'll just make sure we haven't dug into any of these. So I don't believe we did. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 400. Right, so need 3 blacks. Take these 2 back, 200. Right, so there's our original bankroll. 600. Put that back in our rack. And there's our 130 bucks. Given we're playing with a $600 bankroll, we've made more than our 20% target. So what we can do, we can add that, and if we've got enough to colour up one, hopefully. Yeah, we do. Alright. So I can colour up that one there. So $426 on our 4th bankroll. So 500, 500, 500, 500 and 426. So not bad at all. That's another, these are our insurance policies basically. So I'm going to just roll it out, see what happens. 9, 5. So I might, whoops, off the table. It's a little bit high. That's when you see something like that, that's when everyone turns their bets off. Oh, and there's the 7. That was a weird roll. Didn't actually even hit the back wall. But I'll leave it there. I've actually heard with the electronic tables, I don't know what they're called over there, but they're the ones where they're all electronic and you put your bets in, but you still got a dealer and you still roll the dice. But apparently once your bets are locked in, I was talking to DGE about this, and he said, yeah, once your bets are locked in on those tables, if a shooter, does something silly like throwing them off the table or does it multiple times, you can't take your bet, you can't cancel your bet. It's kind of locked in. So I actually thought that's actually not nice, because if you are at the table, that is something players will do. If they see a player sort of do something really bad, or they short roll, or they're going off the table, or other things like that, or other events, or people putting their hands in and other things like that, there's less reason to put your hands in, obviously, on the electronic table. But certain events, you might still want to take your bets off. You don't get the opportunity to do that, apparently. So anyway, I'll worry about that when we get those sort of tables here. Apparently we might be getting those tables at our new casino in Brisbane at some point. Yeah, that's only a rumour, so we'll wait and see. That's got at least another year or more to go before that's finished being built. But anyway, we're well on our road. Yeah, what was it, 426? Yeah, 426. So once we get this to 500, we obviously want to get them all to 600. And once we get all of those to 600, we're playing with 600. That'll actually get us to our target of 3K. So, and I'm really looking forward to, when I can get this built up to where we're somewhere around that $1,200 session bankroll. It will be nice because we will be able to bet a little bit higher. But I did play very ultra conservative that time. Not that I needed to, and that's the thing. I played a very conservative way on the hands and the shooters that I actually didn't need to play that way. So it is swings and roundabouts. Sometimes if you do play aggressive, you might get the absolutely worst rolls that you decide to play more aggressive on, and then find yourself in a hole that you've got to dig yourself out of. So we never ever got into a hole, which was really good. We got beaten down a few times. All those come out sevens. You win some, you lose some, basically. So, but anyway, we prevailed. We played conservative, and we didn't get beaten up very much at all. But I think it's just the style of play we were using. If we hadn't got those hot shooters, it would have taken us a much longer time to get to our target. And then maybe we would have had to do some recovery betting where we do bet a couple of rolls, or maybe one roll high, and then drop it right down back to our basic play again. They're the sort of things you've got to do to try and recover. You've got to kind of win more when you win than you lose when you lose. And by doing that, what you're trying to do is require less success events to actually still beat the house. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. And obviously by the timing and when we turn our bets off, things like that, it doesn't take too many of those to be right on, and you actually are skewing things a little bit more in your favour. So anyway, I'll leave it there. Appreciate you watching, and we'll be back again soon.